You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
I was having Vegas flashbacks there.
How so?
So we just, like, you, the listener, just heard the intro for the podcast, but here in the studio, we didn't have the speaker hooked up, so I didn't hear it. I'm just watching the wave files go, but it reminded me we were in Vegas and we did not have the Bluetooth turned up, and there would just be dead silence during hot performance with Liam going, okay, go.
Yeah, so we had speakers and the nub, I don't know what you'd call it, the auxiliary part of the cord is just broken in one of the roadcasters. So we're just toast. I'm not smart enough to fix it.
We're in shambles. It was a long trip. We had a couple good days. Everyone's a little frazzled. Not enough water in the body yet. It's expected to see some mistakes today, perhaps.
We're running on half cylinders today. Yeah. Well, Liam's good. Liam's looking rested.
I am well rested. I sat from afar as you guys experienced Seattle. And by the looks of it, you guys were sleepless.
Oh,
hey!
Thank you, Liam.
Hey,
a lot of walking involved.
How long you were sitting on that one?
It just came to mind.
Excellent. We're going to kick off the podcast as we always do with a shout out to our friends at Wendy's. It's the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. Have I entered yet today? This is my reminder day.
I forgot to enter yesterday.
Oh, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it is Tuesday.
I forgot to enter yesterday. Yeah, I got no picks. Man, now I don't know that I have an opportunity to win a free barbecue bacon cheeseburger. Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year with the Wendy's Daily Face-Off Survivor Pool. For those of you who smoke the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that will have you winning despite your lack of team building skills. Really? Interesting copy. Download the Wendy's app and score yourself 150 bonus reward points on your first order and grab a sweet victory of mouth-watering jaws of we need to rewrite this. Put your prediction skills to the test and score yourself 1,300 bonus points if you win the week. Use your points to grab your favorite menu items only at Wendy's. If you want to play, go to dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com, dailyfaceoffsurvivor.com. If you can't remember that, just pop over to dailyfaceoff.com. It is right there in the menu bar. Go get yourself some Wendy's. It's delicious. I recommend you all eat Wendy's for all 3 meals of the day. Thank you. Liam, thoughts?
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch it.
I don't think I could, even if I wanted to. We will work on the copy for the ad read. Pretend that I nailed it flawlessly.
Yeah, if you're listening and someone from Wendy's comes and talks to you, tell them we nailed that one.
Yeah.
Please.
Just go into Wendy's and buy a barbecue bacon cheeseburger and say, O&R sent you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. On the way home.
The person at the till won't know what you're talking about.
Zero idea.
We respect the hustle anyway. Liam, what do you got for delicious debate today?
Delicious debate today. Was firing Jay Woodcroft the right decision for the Edmonton Oilers?
Who wants to jump in? Actually, you know what, Liam? I want you to jump in first. We kind of did an impromptu O&R on Sunday morning. I'd love to hear your thoughts first.
My thoughts are kind of split, to be honest. I'm leaning more towards no. I don't think Jay Woodcroft should have been fired, but I think when you put it into the 12-game span that the Oilers had before yesterday, then yeah, maybe he should have been fired. But I just don't like the way it all went down initially with, you do it after a win and then he supposedly finds out after the game, but everybody else knew before the puck had even been dropped. And it's just like all these layers to it that just leave a really sour taste in my mouth. As an Oilers fan, as you want to see that, I feel like this organization has come a long way in the functionality of it. And now functionality?
Yeah. Feng shui. Everything is properly placed.
Very well.
And now it almost feels like they've taken a weird step back in some aspects too. So I'm split. So the answer to the question is no, I don't think they made the right decision.
I think the other thing too is let's go back to the coach firings recently for the Oilers, right? McClellan, whatever. But when they fired Dave Tippett and brought in Jay Woodcroft, it had been months of speculation.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a little bad start. It wasn't November, right? It was February. Mm-hmm. And we all wanted Woody. We were sitting there going, Jay Woodcroft's on the farm, bring him up. He'll play the kids, all this. And we got our wish more or less as a fan base, to a T. So it was very easy to get up for it. Yeah. This one, we liked Jay Woodcroft as a whole, as a fan base. Did he have annoying tendencies? Yeah, every coach does. We'll find some with Knoblauch in a month or two, trust me. But Woodcroft was a likable character. And seeing him go when, again, we're smart, the fan base knows what they're talking about. You can tell this wasn't all on Woody. Seeing him pay the price for it and him being a good dude, it's hard to like get up for this coaching change and be like, yeah, this is what they needed, because it's just kind of like, ah, damn, it's a result of shit going terribly wrong, not a result of Woodcroft's incompetence.
So I spent a lot of time on the weekend kind of just diving into the comment sections on the Oilers Instagram, on Oilers Nation's Facebook page, and kind of around. I knew how I felt about it. We talked about it on Sunday morning. I think it was the wrong move.
Yeah.
There were so many things going wrong with this team that were outside of Jay Woodcroft's control. He didn't tell Jack Campbell to stop 82% of the pucks that came his way. Like, that didn't happen. But when I was digging into the comment section, I don't remember a coach being fired around here. And God knows there's been a lot of them where everybody was so much on one side.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like Tyler said, when Dave Tippett got fired, everybody was like, get him out of here, bring up Woody. And even before, it's like, oh, Ken Hitchcock, I don't know if he's the guy. And then he got replaced. And then Tom McClellan was having a rough go. When did Tom McClellan get fired? Do you remember?
2019.
But like what month? Like how early into the season? I feel like it was early.
Well, no, because Hitch took over. I want to say it was like January.
Liam's looking for it.
Todd McClellan fired.
But anyway, I don't think it was the right decision, because I don't feel like Jay Woodcroft was the problem for a lot of the things going wrong. Now, the Oilers won 4-1 last night. Kris Knoblauch, first NHL victory as a head coach. You like some stuff you saw, but ultimately a little bit of a dead cat bounce in terms of like new coach coming in. It's not like he changed anything. Go ahead, Liam.
November 20th, 2018.
Wow, it was early.
So it was relatively early.
A week later than what Woody got.
He made up his mind after a Sunday loss to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Actually, it says
that.
Las Vegas Knights.
I remember that.
Nice.
Rick, what do you think?
CBC.
Fired Woody.
I don't know if there's a right or a wrong decision. Like Connor said, our season at that point, before the Seattle game and maybe a bit before that, it was a death by 1,000 cuts. There was not one area, and I've said this more than once, there was not an area that I thought was more responsible for the issues than anybody else. It goes from the top to the bottom. The GM could have done better. The coaching could have done better. The offense, the defense, the goaltending, the neutral zone play, special teams. PK wasn't doing it. Power play really wasn't pulling us along, keeping us out of the mud. So I don't know if right or wrong is the way to say it. But I guess they felt like they had to do something. After the Seattle game, I kind of thought that this might kind of go away a bit. I felt like I saw something different out of the team in the last couple of games where they were a little bit better defensively against Seattle. I know there's like no shots in the third, but we weren't giving up a lot of grade A chances and nothing was going in the net. So it's kind of the time where we've seen this team go on long runs of ineptitude before, where, 1-13-1 or whatever the hell all those records have been. And the games when we start to get out of them, you start to see games like Seattle where they kind of buckle down. The offense really isn't there, but they're really concentrating on taking care of their own end, winning their one-on-one battles and that kind of stuff. And I think I saw that again last night. And then the offense eventually took over. So after that, I was very surprised when I got that text from Tyler saying, hey, let's do an emergency pod, because I don't know what I was playing on, but for the last 6 minutes, I was not on Twitter because he said that and I was like, wait, what? And I went back and the tweet was literally 6 minutes before that. So I was quite shocked. But yeah, coaching was definitely part of it, like I said. And if the organization thought that they had to do something in order to get the team going, the GM move was not going to be the one. Yeah. And I think, and I know people are out there and they want to see blood because they want to see Holland gone. I think that is like a personal thing for them. But to me, Holland is done. This was not a Holland move. This was a Jeff Jackson move. I think we saw it in the presser later on.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I think we saw it later on. So I think Holland is done. They're giving him the golden handshake. They're letting him walk out and finish his time here, and they won't fire him. It doesn't change anything for the team, but he's not in control of anything anymore. So I don't think he's even the one. Well, he probably was the one who told Woody. But
on Holland 1 second, I just want to say, like, last night I'm watching the game against the Islanders, and we got a classic Leon game. Huge goal. 4 points, Connor goal and an assist. And all I could think about as I was watching it happen, I was like, man, if you guys just had one of those each, in the last week or Woody's still here.
On top of that too, you got multiple saves from Stuart Skinner. Like everything the Oilers needed from in the first 12 games happened last night.
But we saw some of that in Seattle too.
Yes. So that's back-to-back games now that is occurring, I guess.
So here's where I kind of come out on it after having a couple days to look at this from a handful of different angles.
Let some of the alcohol get out of your system.
Yeah, let some of the booze get out of my system from the nation.
Put on a shirt for this one. That's awfully nice
The
of you.
win against Seattle took like you said, Rick, it took the pressure off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If they didn't want to fire Jay Woodcroft, they didn't have to at that point. You could have sat there and said, okay, we're going to wait until the next time we lose 2 games in a row.
See what happens as we go.
And if we don't lose 2 games in a row, we're back, baby. And we're 500 or better. And Woody's good. And we just avoided this whole thing.
Yep.
The Seattle game gave you a chance to do that. What this tells me
It was done
is that
before.
Jeff Jackson wanted his guy.
Or it was the move was done before, like you were saying.
Paul Coffey said in the press conference that he knew he had the job at 6:30 that night. The puck didn't drop till 8. He was fired. Jay Woodcroft was fired and he didn't even know it.
No, I'm going to say this one. I think in a lot of companies in these situations, that type of stuff probably happens. So I'm not
going to say it.
Yeah, but I don't.
So I want to talk about the.
I don't know if he said it with any malice or anything like that. If he just said it because words popped in his head and that's kind of
bluntly
He was
honest.
just
Yeah.
said
He
everything.
was bluntly honest to the point of maybe like, bro, you should have dialed that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the press conference specifically. So I don't know. I just don't know that I've seen a coach getting fired be so universally panned by the fan base before.
well, because this wasn't about like the coaching wasn't the grade A issue. There, and again, I don't think there was one that was heavier than the rest, but it was the easiest one, and it got the biggest change out of the team. I think is the prevailing opinion going into something like that.
I wonder too if the reason why everyone's a bit upset with it is obviously Edmonton's a very smart hockey fan base.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows the game very well. You go to the games and the guy sitting next to you is commentating the game and telling you what every player should be doing. It's fantastic stuff.
You sat next to me?
I wonder if that's why people just think this is the wrong decision too, because we all loved Woodcroft in the sense of like, I don't think I've had a coach when the others have been here. Maybe it's just because I'm older now, I guess, where the others are, where I like actually go out of my way to watch and hear what the head coach has to say. I feel like when Woodcroft did interviews, I wanted to hear what he had to say. Never felt that way about Tippett.
He's a progressive coach, and I think that was something different for everybody. That's what they liked.
I think he was very good with his words. Like he was very smart in the things that he would say, and
Word choice was always good.
I always appreciated what he had to come out and say. And I think that's maybe why a lot of people think this is the wrong decision, because when you look at the 12 games spent, like you said, like nobody was playing well, nobody was being held accountable, and it was just like you said, like everything was going wrong. And the players can say like he didn't lose the room, and I believe them obviously 100%. But like at some point, somebody has to pay the price, and
it's always the coach.
Adam Ernie had to do it. Jack Campbell did it, and then it's Woodcroft.
Can't believe sending Anna Bernie down didn't fix the
I know.
I really thought that was going to do it.
I thought that would be the trigger.
Wake everyone up.
Well, goodbye, Woody.
Bye, Woody.
I feel like that part of Toy Story when Woody gets dropped in the box. Fuck.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't a loss of the room. This was not strictly on the coaching staff. This was just the easiest move to get a change in the team.
Watching the boys yesterday, you could tell them in their pregame interviews, they looked rattled.
They're very angry right now. And were any of you guys did you go to the game yesterday?
I did not.
And you weren't there either.
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't.
So Leon Draisaitl got first star of the game. You know, Tony always does his post-game stuff with him.
Yep.
Usually those players put a smile on their face and say something positive. And Draisaitl just seemed to have no interest in being in that space he was in at the moment, and just seemed very frustrated that the organization was in this spot. And you would think there would be a bit of a sense of relief from that guy that night. And because he had 4 points, and I know Leon's like an emotional guy and he wears it on his sleeve, good or bad, but maybe it's just coincidence it was him and maybe another player would have reacted differently, but he just did not seem pleased.
Well, I mean, I say it about Leon all the time. If there's any player on the Edmonton Oilers that you're going to get something interesting, good or bad, you stick a mic in his face, it's going to be him.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to be happy about. They're 4-9-1 still.
Yep.
What's he going to sit there? And I still don't think, like, I know he got 4 points, but that's one of those games where you're just like, I was almost surprised he got 4 points. He didn't look like himself still.
He had 7 remarkable minutes. Like there was that stretch in the first period where he took over and it was like, holy shit. And the rest of the game, he
still looks like he's struggling with his confidence right now.
But like, I hope that last night's game, and he's gonna sleep on it for a bit and then try and like, I honestly think these guys need to sit down and talk with somebody to try and get the trash out of their head from the last month. Because I think it's eating away at themselves. Sports psychologist?
No idea.
Yeah, they have to. Like it may not be labeled in the book and people will lose their mind about it saying there's not one there, but yes, they definitely have options and out there to people to go talk to for sure. I'd be blown away if not.
Next thing I want to talk about before we get to Kris Knoblauch being hired, because I want to dedicate some time to that, is the Holland Jackson presser. That we were at the football game in Seattle and I'm reading all the quotes from the presser and I'm like, I remember thinking in my seat, I'm like, am I reading these incorrectly? Because it seems like Holland and Jackson are directly contradicting each other on the sequence of events. Was Holland being more honest than he should have been? Was Jackson not being as honest as he should have been? How did they not get their story straight? What did you guys think of the presser?
So I think by what we saw, it looked really bad, but didn't someone come out and clarify something yesterday?
Jackson.
Yeah. So I think Ken Holland has obviously talked to the group, to the leadership group, if you will. I don't think anything was ever said about replacing your coach or something like that. Maybe asked, hey guys, what do you think about your coaching? Like maybe that was a type of a thing. So I think that's probably what Holland was referring to. But I honestly think at this point, you need to get the microphone away from Ken Holland.
Yes.
Like, I don't think he's in charge now. I don't think he's making moves. He's just a figurehead right now. And there's, like I said, it's a handshake for a Hall of Famer guy. Walk out the rest of your career. You're not really doing anything else. You can still like sit at the table and stuff. But I don't read too much into it because I just don't really think too much of what he has to say right now.
Liam, I wanted to get your whole thoughts on it. So there's a press conference plus the Holland take. So I just wanted to let you go right now.
So the press conference was a mess, to say the least. And I think for me that I agree with what you said. Like, I think they were just talking about two different things. And like Holland, it's not talking to the players. Like you said, like, oh, she'll be fired. What he's probably like, hey, like, how are things?
What do you guys
like,
think's wrong?
What's going on here? Like all that kind of stuff. And I think what Jackson was referring to was directly like, no, we did not talk to the players about changing a coach.
Makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. But in that situation, Jackson should back up Holland in the sense of like, yep, Kenny does.
Who spoke first?
Or just say that in the moment.
Ken did.
Way, yeah.
Ken, do you think like at any way, like the way Ken Holland phrased it, and again, he fucks his words in these pressers quite often, like kind of threw Connor and Leon under the bus a little bit, inadvertently, admittedly, but optically, I think so.
I think a little bit maybe, but also he always says that stuff. He always said he's talking to the leadership group when he makes decisions. And again, I don't think he talks to them directly being like, we're going to fire Woody on Saturday night.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. I think he just says like, hey, like, what are you thinking? All that. And I think to me, it just showed, despite knowing that they were talking about two different things, just like they're not in sync. These guys clearly are not working together in anything. They can say whatever they want. I think it's very obvious that Ken Holland essentially has nothing to do with this team anymore. Ken Holland would have never hired Paul Coffey as an assistant coach. That would never be his decision. If you go back and look, like he's got rid of the old boys that have been stuck around here forever. Like Kevin Lowe is probably the one who's in like the community role. Like
Kevin Lowe's earned everything he's wanted to. He's gone to the Rangers. He's got eight assistant GM, assistant coach. Yeah. So,
but Ken Holland isn't out here hiring these guys. He doesn't fire coaches mid-season. He's patient with everything. And the fact Woodcroft is gone after 12 games and Paul Coffey is now an assistant coach, the new coach didn't even know who his assistants were. He had to ask Holland in the moment who his coaches were going to be. And to me, it just shows that like there's nothing going on with those guys that is like a positive thing right now in the sense of Holland and Jackson. It just seems very negative. And I also think they should just fire Holland. Just fire him. And I get it. No, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, what are you waiting for? He is not in a position as a general manager right now. You're keeping him around to make phone calls. And if the new general manager can't come in and also just make phone calls, then why even have one?
Because the talent pool you're going to hire from isn't as good right now as it will be in the summer. Wait till the summer when people are
then hire an intern within the organization. So right now, essentially, the Oilers have said there is nobody in our organization that can take over and do a general manager job for like 6 months. Like you probably could hire Gretzky for 6 months.
If we're talking about Ken Holland's strengths and weaknesses, like I mean, last year, did you not like what he did around the deadline?
I'm not.
I think he's done. I think he's done good things up to now.
Me too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Ken Holland has done a bad job because that would be wrong of me. But there's clearly areas throughout this team that have not been addressed for multiple years.
One of my favorite quotes, and I'm paraphrasing, so I don't have the exact quote in front of me, was when Holland goes, "Woody had a hard time keeping players accountable because there wasn't enough players to do it." I was like, yeah, but that's kind of your fault, man.
That's you.
But I mean, at the end of the day, he put together his nucleus last year, right? He's got a bunch of guys under 3-year contracts or whatever, 3+ years, and that was going in. So it's either we roll with Yamo this year, or we move on and we move on to somebody else. And they moved on to somebody else, and he made his bet. He made his bet. He's got to lay in it. And it's not worked out for the first, 8 games or whatever he's played. I mean, I'm not ready to tell you that Connor Brown's been a failure.
Yeah, me neither.
Right. So who knows, by, April, maybe Connor Brown is a big thing. And maybe Ken Holland at the end of the day did put together a roster that can win the Stanley Cup. But at the beginning, I honestly think that he's done enough for the team that you can shadow GM the rest of the year, because I don't think there's very much any GM in this world can do with this Oilers team right now. With their cap situation, with absolutely everything, I don't see how there's a lot of moves that can be made by anybody, any GM.
I think Tyler nailed it in the sense that bringing in an interim GM for 6 months optically is probably poor. So just leaving Holland there.
You have an interim anyways right now. He's just behind the shadows.
An interim GM's not going to be able to do anything without Jeff Jackson's approval. Ken Holland's not going to be able to do anything with Jeff Jackson's approval. And I know now this is a little bit talking out of two sides of my mouth, and it's also a little tongue in cheek, but I also kind of want Ken Holland with 0 eyes on the future running this thing, because I want some shit to go down at the deadline. I want first round picks and Xavier Bourgault going out the door and Travis Konechny coming in. I want some big splashes.
Did you guys read Speck's latest by any chance, where he threw Brad Holland under the bus for signing Jack Campbell?
Apparently he is the guy in Toronto. That's why Brad Holland is based, apparently, and watches these guys and everything. It's interesting. I mean, the Jack Campbell thing too, obviously has not worked. But at the time,
it's not that bad, man.
Goaltenders were falling just off the list, left, right, and center. Nobody wanted to be here. Jack Campbell said he wanted to be here, and the Oilers signed him. And at the time, there was obviously question marks, but it was all this is probably good, better than nothing.
But the question mark really was not so much the dollar amount as the contract length.
Yeah.
Nobody expected him to fall off the way he has.
No,
I don't think anybody can sit there and go, you brought in a 700 goaltender or whatever, because I don't think that's what he brought in. And I think everybody out there who's actually sitting here judging it down the middle and not just, anti-Holland stuff is surprised. I'm sorry, but Jack Campbell has let down everybody.
Seeing how an NHL goalie can just fall off the face of the earth that fast is stunning.
It's seeing how the whole team has fallen, did for a bit, but now that goalie's still falling.
I think we knew some things about his mental makeup going back to Toronto, and maybe there wasn't enough homework done there.
Okay, but would you expect to see what you're seeing right now? No. I'm not so sure we expect to see much of a regression if he just kept going at what he was.
For me, I know there's probably some hindsight in there too, but I expected Jack Campbell to kind of be around his career average.
Yeah, that's all you're asking.
I know that we were going to go through the periods where he got hard on himself. We all knew about that, but I never expected him to be getting lit up in the AHL and 13 games into year 2.
Nobody did. And I think because of that, I'm not going to sit there and put Holland in extra big crosshairs because of it. Because I just don't think anybody out there saw this coming, and everybody's surprised.
It is results driven.
100%. So it is his decisions. Yeah, it is his problem. He has to deal with it. And he ultimately has lost his control over the team. He's lost, the biggest part of his job. I think they're going to allow him to finish. But that's a respect factor for what he's done to get here. I think not everything, but I think for the majority, what he's done before this has been successful. Not as successful as we want, but I think we've been going forward.
It depends how much you want to nitpick. And again, that's all hindsight.
Yeah. And I'm not trying too much, but on the whole,
that's $6 million, there's all that shit. But at the time, that's what they paid. So
there's other layers to it too that people don't always consider, as the cap hasn't moved. Was it moved $3 million since he got here or something crazy?
Like 2 or
and Lawson and Clefbaum just left.
Mm-hmm.
This big deal.
Yeah. cap stopped going up, and it stopped going up right after he signed Zach Cassian to a big ticket and like all of that stuff, right? Yeah, but I mean, every competitive team is dealing with the flat cap. Granted, they've all had to make sacrifices.
And they're all in different situation, different levels of where they are. If you're a little behind us, then it wasn't so bad. You look at a team like Ottawa, you were more dumping off at the time, so it worked a little bit better for you. We were at a point where we needed to drop money to bring in the secondary scoring, the secondary depth. And then all of a sudden that kind of went away, and we were scrambling to try and figure out how to do this because we have already paid our big guys and they needed some help, but we need some help here and some help down there. And
what's done is done.
Yeah.
And now we move forward. For our friends at Greta, they are our hospitality partner across the nation for the year. Go play some Mario Kart, go have a drink, go have something to eat before the game, pop on into Greta. We will be having more events there as the year goes on. They are home for the season. So let's talk about moving forward. Kris Knoblauch comes in as the new coach, Coach Garlic.
Garlic. Everything's better with garlic.
I fully admit I am not one of those people that is as dialed in around the league as some people are. Like, I would never compare what I know about hockey to what Tyler knows about hockey because you just watch more than I do. So when I saw Kris Knoblauch's name from Frank as the replacement, I was honestly really surprised that they didn't go with the guy who has been around the block, one of the retreads, I guess.
And I think this again just speaks to who's making the hire. We've now all seen the quotes about Jeff Jackson talking about Kris Knoblauch in the past. Very high on him. They have a relationship.
Did Holland not interview him too before?
Yeah, Grand Rapids.
And he's interviewed, I think, for an Oilers job too.
Yeah, 2019 before Tippett.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a lot of smoke. I wanted Knoblauch.
So this is not... I'm getting a little sensitive right now because I think too many people are trying to like compare Connor and LeBron. I don't think Connor had a lot of say in this, but I think the narrative is out there, and there's a lot of people who like to speak in a certain way you're only going to hear Connor LeBron-esque type of speak for quite some time here. And I do not think it's very productive at all for this city.
You know what? LeBron's got championships. But what about bringing in another kind of progressive coach as opposed to doing the retread? We'll do the narrative after.
Yeah, I think that was probably the right move. It's definitely a little worrisome because we are 1-1 with that right now, because I think that the first time we tried this progressive coach thing, it did not work, and it did not work very, very well, and it ended up in flames with Dallas Aikens.
Well, if Kris Knoblauch starts taking away the donuts from the media, we're going to have a real problem around here.
Yeah, and then with the Woody thing, I know he's a progressive coach, but we were nurturing him for the head coach spot for a very long time. So that to me was more about bringing somebody up through your organization and not necessarily just going after the progressive thinker. But now we've taken a step, but I don't see him being that much different than Woodcroft. I think this is all on the players, and it's up to them to. Yep. Well, this season will go where the players take them, regardless of the coach is Woody, Garlic, or any of the four of us.
What do you think about the choice, Tyler?
So we talked to Bruce Kurlock today, and as you know, BM, he's amazing at breaking down systems and seeing the game through that lens. And he kind of said the neutral zone is going to go back to what it was last year, and the D zone is going to kind of go to what it was last year. And maybe there's a difference in the fact he likes to attack east-west more. So you'll see maybe some more high-risk cross-ice passes from the Oilers breaking in and things like that. And I mean, it could work, though, because that usually allows you to unlock your speed off the rush more, right? When you're making that far cross-ice pass, letting a guy skate into it and getting the other team kind of stuttering a bit.
I hope he changes the breakout.
Yeah, the breakout stinks.
Well, you don't like three guys standing at the far blue line? The one long 60-yard pass?
There is no support from any of the forwards on the defenseman. It leaves them hanging. Anyway, go ahead.
But I do think largely it's going to be pretty similar here. I think we might see less of a blender, at least to start. It feels like they kind of have.
Interesting, he didn't really blend anything last night.
Until Holloway got hurt.
Yeah.
Gonna have to now.
Choice.
So I like that. I like that he's maybe going back to the more classic neutral zone thing. I like that he's maybe going to unlock some speed for the Oilers off the rush, because there's no reason why they shouldn't be one of the best rush teams in the entire NHL with their speed and skill. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot to like, but ultimately kind of similar to last night's game against the Islanders. Like, the way this team's going to turn it around is when they start getting saves, start getting better puck luck with their shots in the ozone, and their power play gets better.
That lateral thing scares the hell out of me because if you've watched anything this year, Leon is definitely not passing like Leon, forehand or backhand. Connor can't really get a
pass to Connor last night.
That was dope. That was so. Like I said, maybe we are back and the kind of things are gone. But if before Seattle, we couldn't make a pass over one dude's stick.
There was, I'm sure when I say it, one of you guys will remember it. There was a play in the first period last game against the Islanders where Nurse had a clear lane to Draisaitl in the neutral zone. He was right by the red line and Nurse just fired it a foot behind him. And it's like, oh my God, this team is so still squeezing the stick. Like, I didn't think they played that good against the Islanders last night. I thought they were just fine and their power play and goaltending bailed them out, which is good. They needed that.
But they played well in their own. They played more. Yeah. They played more worried about their own end than anything else. And finally, the power play took over. Even when we got that first power play, I was like, we need to score here.
I laughed out loud in my house last night when the second shot of the game went in only 40 seconds in.
Kate, but did you feel any difference seeing that one as compared to one, say, 4 games ago? No, because I didn't. No. Now, I don't know if that was because I was more confident or if it was apathy, but I did not feel it. I did not feel like, oh my God.
The reason I laughed out loud is that Jay Woodcroft just got fired for that shit.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious seeing the fire the new guy. Like there's Woody didn't even play goalie. Like there was a bunch of that. So that was making me laugh. If there's one thing Oilers fans do best, the gallows humor that comes out when things are going poorly is fantastic. Yeah. So
I can't handle it.
We're just we'll wait and see.
That's where I'm at.
We'll wait and see. But like, what about I actually, you know what? I feel bad for Kris Knoblauch because he's coming into a situation where there's a fuck ton of pressure. Yeah. The fan base was very much behind the last guy. They're very much salty with management. And he's walking into a situation where I feel for the guy because
they think Connor put him there. Connor has nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I feel for the guy because he's in a real tough spot. At the same time, he's living out his dream of head coaching in the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think Zach Hyman said it best last night. He goes, we're sad about Dave Manson and Jay Woodcroft, but we're also happy to see a guy get his first NHL win behind a bench. And that was a really cool moment for him. So it was like a very bittersweet.
That was a great answer by a good human being.
Very candid as well.
Because this team should not have to worry about their coaching right now because it wasn't bad before. I think it's pretty much equal now, and it's not going to really change. The whole game is based on the guys with the skates on right now, and it has been all year, and that's where the mistakes have been made the most, and it's up to them to do it.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember which of the media guys asked, but Zach Hyman, they go to paraphrase like, "Oh, what do you think of Kris Knoblauch?" Like, what he goes, I just met him today, so it's going to take a minute.
They asked Derek Ryan that too.
What did he say?
Basically the same. He's like, I don't know. I basically met him.
Well, they're both. Yeah, there you go. They're both Golden Bear guys.
Shout out, Bob.
Shout out Dustin Schwartz too for also being a Golden Bear and Kris Knoblauch's goalie.
I know Gregor put out a tweet today addressing this. Stop saying he's married to someone in Kate's family. That is I've had so many people DM me and ask that or ask it on the live show.
Like unironically?
Unironically, people are asking that. He is not related to anyone in the Cates family. That is like the furthest thing from the truth.
I'm not sure.
So I'm hopeful Garlic can get it. By the way, if you don't know why we're calling him Coach Garlic, Knoblauch is garlic in German.
Yeah.
Jay Downton came up with this.
Said they'd prefer us doing garlic over calling ourselves knob gobblers.
Yeah, like I'd like to try and call him Knobby last night, but
what was the thing?
Polish the knob.
Coaching.
What?
Do the thing, the coaching lineup that you said.
Yeah, well, we made that joke on the bonus episode too, that we went from Hitchcock, Woodcroft, Tip, and now Knoblauch. A lot of penis jokes.
We know what we like. We know what we like.
You know what we like as a fan base.
Standing at full attention. Masks up, boys.
Okay, are we done with the coaching takes? Because there's
one more thing I want to talk about. The other coach that got hired, the guy who didn't really feel like he wanted to be a coach until 6:30 p.m. on Saturday night.
Oh my goodness.
He's a spy, right? He's a spy.
I don't want to wear a tinfoil hat, but it kind of feels like he's a spy on the bench.
It's weird and I don't love it. But what I will say to defend Paul Coffey, and he said this in his press conference, and I think it was Rob Brown that said it too, is that he loves the Oilers.
Loves them.
He's going to do whatever he can to help his team. And I know it's super weird that he's there and that he has like no experience or anything. And quite frankly, it makes no sense at all by the fact of his name is Paul Coffey. That's about it. But he's going to benefit this team in some ways. Someone's going to learn something from him. Hopefully, it's just a small thing where he's here till the end of the season. But
even he doesn't think he's here past the season.
I don't like that the new coach didn't get to pick it, or at least one assistant. He's just embracing.
He just hasn't picked him yet.
No,
by the end of the year, you never know.
November. Like, he should be able to pick a coach for the end of the season, which hopefully still ends in a Stanley Cup parade.
I don't remember who made the joke on Sunday, but like, do you think Glenn Gulletson was just like, I'm free? And then he's like, nope, you're not. And he goes, rats.
Yeah, I think that was a off-air joke you're telling on the coaches or something like that.
Well, who knows? Like, that episode is.
I apologize, everyone who sat through that bonus episode. Did you listen to it?
I did.
What were your thoughts?
We remember it.
What were your thoughts on Jay Downton?
Well, he didn't talk a lot about the coaching change.
He was Team Chaos.
Yeah, he was captain of chaos.
It was. I thought, okay, well, here's 30 minutes of talking about the coach. Like, I just wanted some content from it, so I was listening when I was driving to Red Deer, and yeah, maybe 10 minutes of it was the coach, and everything else was just whatever else. So, okay, well, I got a little bit of a fix.
One of our most viewed straight podcasts on YouTube.
No way.
Boy, those people did not get a good look into what this podcast is usually about.
We'd be talking about the coach, and then Jay's just like, yeah, but what are Connor's hard odds? And you're just like, what?
What are the Stanley Cup odds? Huh? We're going to Aqua. Okay, Jay.
That's Trip Jay, though.
Yeah.
We'll get to Trip Jay.
Love it.
Okay, if we're done the coach thing, there's an article that has been sent to me, and I want to get it off my chest so bad.
Go ahead.
Oh, here we go.
cardiaccane.com has written an article. This is just to give us a nice humor break for the day.
All right.
Has written an article, and they just really wanted to drill in on whether or not there is a fit between the Edmonton Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes for a trade involving Connor McDavid.
Oh no!
Turn everything off.
Just want to dig in here.
Oh, so this is from cardiacccanes.com.
Yeah.
So I said Kane.
No, Cardiac Canes. Cardiaccane.com.
Okay.
So they want to dig into it. So the first name they start with as a potential fit is Martin Necas. But then the writer does point out that the Canes likely wouldn't do Necas for McDavid because as of right now, McDavid is a downgrade on Necas offensively. So
it's satire.
This person is serious.
Oh my God.
Then would Teravainen and money be enough? It could. Again, how much money comes along with him? And then it says that Carolina doesn't want to lose Teravainen as a secondary scorer. And Edmonton wouldn't be that interested. And then would they consider Brett Pesce in future considerations? And the person said no, because Carolina probably wouldn't want to downgrade on deep.
This person should lose their website, their Twitter handle. They should lose all their computers.
Yeah, would we trade an expiring contract in Brett Pesce for a guy who just scored 160 points last year? No.
No, I'm just going to hope that's not really the normal mentality of a Canes fan. I feel like they're probably a little bit smarter than that.
Well,
the fact that you could actually come up with those thoughts and still figure out how to type it is actually pretty impressive to me.
I'm surprised they breathe without assistance.
It's making the rounds on Twitter. If you see it, read it. It's a good chuckle.
So what was the one trade they said they would do? Teravainen and money?
Yeah.
Speechless.
How many games has that team won in the playoffs? Or no, what is it? 0 Eastern Conference wins in the last? Yeah, exactly.
There. Yeah.
Well, the Oilers did win last night. It's 4-1. So I got to tell you about our friends at DoorDash. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code NATION25. That's 25% off, up to $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code NATION25. NATION25 gets you 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms do apply. So last night, we got a 4-1 win over the New York Islanders. Connor McDavid, 2 points. I got to say, when Connor's goal slipped through, I fist pumped so hard. It was like a fucking tiger uppercut from Street Fighter 2. I thought I was going to punch my roof. He needed that one so bad. But I'm asking you boys a different question. Who delivered last night or just in general? What do you got? For our friends at DoorDash, Liam, you're up.
Stu delivered.
970 save percentage.
Despite, allowing, what was it, the second goal of the game or whatever it was. He was solid all night. And I think he was able to give his confidence to the team in front of him, saying, like, I can stop pucks again. So that was big.
944 and a 970 back-to-back games.
Yeah,
Tyler, who delivered for our friends at DoorDash?
I'll try to get a little bit different here. I'm going to say Evan Bouchard starting to deliver a little bit with some
played really well
solid
last
play. In the month of November, when he is on the ice, the Oilers are outscoring the opposition by 1 at 5-on-5. They have controlled more than 60% of the shot attempts with him on the ice at 5-on-5 in the month of December. In every single game, at least 60%. And in every single game in November, they've outshot the opposition at 5-on-5 with Evan Bouchard on the ice. I think a lot of people are now just doing the Darnell Nurse confirmation bias. They've decided to hate Evan Bouchard and not recognize what he's good at and that he is a legitimately talented defenseman. No one wants to hear that anymore. And I think that's too bad because I think he's been playing some good hockey over the last couple of weeks.
Ricky Gott for our friends at DoorDash, who delivered?
Well, last night, I don't think you can look any further than the big German. So we're going to give it to Leon Draisaitl. I think I hope that game got him, makes him feel a little bit better. I don't have no problems with that fine he got. I have no issues with that call. I like the fact he has that side to him. And if you have a player out there with a little bit of nastiness in him who could put up 4 points, dude, those guys are there's 5 or 6 in the league that can handle it.
I want to talk about the fine after. For DoorDash, who delivered for me, I'm going to give it to Connor because it was the first, before last night's game, it was the first time ever in his career that he only had 1 point in a 5-point stretch. You know, he's gripping the stick a little bit. There's been rumors about how healthy is he, all that stuff. But over the last handful of games, I thought he's looking more like Connor McDavid these last couple of games than we've kind of seen. To see him score a big goal, the relief, the hug on Leon, like, Connor delivered at a moment when we needed him to. It was a big goal at a key time of the game.
Did you see the people who were trying to lip read what he said?
No.
And he was like, people were like, we're back. And he's like, no, he said good pass.
Yeah. Because the pass was incredible.
It was amazing. Like,
it was a dart from way back right onto the stick.
Yeah. Oh, there's Twitter.
I do want to talk about another thing Leon did with his stick, which is 5K fine. It was hilarious to me. It was like he went to cross check him in the back and missed and hit him in the legs and down he went.
He hit him in like the back of the knee that makes everyone fall. You remember you use your toe to push somebody in the back and they kind of like fall. That's what it was to me. Like it wasn't, you want to fine him $5,000 or whatever the hell it is. I think Zach figured it out to be $45 to the average Canadian, whatever that means. Go ahead. I think it's stupid, but whatever. It doesn't fucking mean anything.
Why is that stupid?
Because I think the fine for that equivalency I think minimal is like a sky ahead of where this thing is. Like $45 out of your pocket. No,
that's what I mean. It means nothing to you.
Yeah, it's beyond. It's less than minimal. So I mean, the NHLPA has done a fantastic job in terms of negotiating fines and stuff because
in the NFL,
you look at the NFL.
A guy wears his socks too high and they're like $30,000.
A rookie wears his socks too high and he does not get paid that week because it goes right to the fine. And now Leon loses $5,000.
That's the thing that always makes me laugh when they do max allowable fine, $5,000. I'm like, Leon probably already had the check written out before he did it. You know what I mean? Like
he didn't even use a check. He just went into his jeans.
Yeah, just pulled out a wad. He was like, fire this off to the office.
Forgot about this. Here you go.
Tyler, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't know. It was dumb of him, like dumb penalty to take in the game, but like I don't think he was trying to hurt anyone. He was just trying to get a shot in at him. And
it's just he's still frustrated. He needs to get over that.
He does.
But I think a guy like that's why I said I think he needs to talk it. There's so much wrong between the ears of these players right now that nobody likes to give that credit for. That's what's going on right now. There's a lot of pressure going in, and when you start laying eggs the way they have, it weighs on you and it weighs on you. And if this was a person who works at a Starbucks who put out something on TikTok said, you know, how stressed they are after December because, you know, you get all the people in there and it's Christmas time and it's a very stressful job. People feel bad for them. But you take a professional athlete with that much pressure doing the same thing and people don't give two shits no more.
Yeah, well, because
I get that there's the fandom in there. There's the price tag of what they're making, which is astronomical, but they're still human beings at the end of the day. And I think that you can, as a fan, you don't really have to worry about it too much, but as the team, you really need to be ahead of that and help them out in those areas.
I actually have no problem with Leon getting spicy.
Zero.
I don't care.
Love it.
He's got it.
Bad penalty for sure.
Oilers had the puck in the offensive zone.
Bad penalty. A little bit dumb. Killed it off. No,
it was harmless at the end of the day.
Yeah, ultimately harmless. But overall, that specific play, agreed. Bad penalty. But when you get spicy and gets a little sassy, I like.
Don't mind it.
Don't mind it at all. Other thing that happened last night, got to talk about it. Dylan Holloway had arguably his best game all season on Saturday in Seattle.
Yep.
Just an assist off of the Gordie Howe hat trick. I thought I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, Hollywood's good. Let's go. And then last night left the game in the second period. Do we have any idea what's going on with Dylan Holloway?
Gregor said months, plural.
Plural?
Plural, according to Gregor's Twitter.
That's rough.
Sucks, man. Second straight year he's been derailed by injuries. And this one sucks even more. Like when he got hurt last year, it was at a point he was struggling, right? Like he still wasn't scoring or producing. He wasn't playing all that much. With Knoblauch coming in, it was like, okay, like this guy played good against the Kraken. He was playing good against the Islanders. It was like, he might start to get 12 to 14 minutes a night here and put something together. And then boom, he goes down and gets hurt. Brutal luck.
It is interesting how Knoblauch spread out the minutes last night.
It was a nice change of pace.
Brett Kulak on D played 15-13. Vinny 16-52. Like he spread out the minutes on D a lot more, given that they only had 6.
Yeah, and they had 2 forward lines, the top 2 lines, each played fully together. All 3 guys on the ice at once for over 13 minutes at 5-on-5. It was 13 and then like 16 for the other line.
And not one forward had over 20 minutes last night.
And that's impressive because it's not like it was Seattle where we were up 4-0 at the end of the first.
Yep.
It was close. It was close. It was close all game to that first power play in the third period, in which case we got a little bit of space.
He said in his post game, a big belief of his, Knoblauch that is stability. And that includes keeping lines together, even when maybe you have the urge to spin the blender around.
And that was, and I'd hate to go back to it, but that was definitely probably Woodcroft's biggest downfall.
He's coaching for his life, right?
But we're going back to previous seasons that I know from within the room that some guys did not like how he handed out ice time.
We'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
I liked when the lines were going out too, in the sense of like the fourth line was getting shifts in the third period. When was the last time
Lavoie was out there with 4:53 left or something that I noticed? And I thought that was huge.
Players' confidence.
Yeah.
8:36 last night. James Hamlin 8:08. Dylan Holloway was the low man on the roster at 7:23, but obviously he left in the second period.
I love James Hamlin. I don't know. Oh, I know exactly what it is. He's never going to quit on a shift. He's kind of like Sam Gagner in some ways, of like his effort is so clear and obvious every single night. And I really appreciate that from someone like him.
Another thing I want to mention from last night's game, Zach Hyman heater. Can we do it?
Yeah.
4 goals in his last 2 games, leading
go.
the team in scoring right now.
Yeah.
Well, goal scoring anyway.
He's picking, this whole team is turning things around a bit.
It's one of those things where Hyman's another guy. Like you said, Hamlin never quits on a shift. Hyman's the exact same.
You need those guys.
And we need Hyman to start putting the puck in the net. He's starting to.
Score, and he's been doing that lately.
I was saying this on before too to Tyler, and things change now that Holloway's gone, but like, where does Janmark kind of fit into this picture now?
13, 12.
Yeah.
Because I think Lavoie is going to need a little bit of time here. Like if Lavoie played one every 4 or 5, took a rest on one every 4 or 5, that's not the end of the world for him. It's good for a young guy like that. Pardon?
Can you afford 13? I guess.
Because we only got 6 defensemen.
They had Broberg up.
Yeah, I think we're at this point. Broberg's definitely going to be taking the hit in terms of NHL playing time. But I like the fact you have a veteran in Janmark who can be your 13th, who can slip in, slip out. I don't think it's a big deal if he plays or not. I think the same thing with Derek Ryan's going to be sometimes where you can't play him, and hopefully not, but Holloway might fall over that. If previous to Seattle, you can see that out of him.
Hamlin, and I think Hamlin every night.
I think Hamlin goes back to Bakersfield when he gets the next 2.
You can afford to have either 13 forwards or 7 defensemen. You can't do both. You need to have 7 defensemen on your roster.
you can just send them back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, there's no COVID. You can fly the guy up by the next day.
Yeah, but still, if there was ever a situation where a guy got hurt in warm-ups or was sick,
Hamlin, Lavoie can go down. If you may have to get creative. I agree with you there.
Yeah, they just can't afford to do the 13 forwards and 7D. And if they're running a minimum roster right now, right?
That's going to be the way it goes all year, and you're going to have to juggle it.
I'm just saying, if you have the money to do it, which you could here, you need to send down a forward and bring Broberg back up.
And you know what? With that too, maybe this is a good chance for Broberg to come in as well. BM just said, the way the minutes were spread out on the back end yesterday, Broberg's not going to be sat on the bench watching for 55 minutes a night. He's going to play his fair share of minutes if he's in the lineup and they're playing 6 defensemen.
I would, unfortunately, I get that we like him and he's putting in a good effort. I'd swap Hamlin for Broberg in a heartbeat.
Well, no, I think I wouldn't do it in a heartbeat.
You think about it.
But you're gonna be, but Hamlin's gonna be playing. Are you
exactly?
Are you playing Broberg? Are you like? Are you playing? Are you going 7 defensemen on the ice, or are you popcorning them?
How often does that happen?
I rotate him and Desharnais.
See, and I think Vin right now is
playing fine.
Definitely advanced past Broberg.
And that's another thing too. We don't even know if Coach Garlick wants to play 11 and 7. That was a Woodcroft thing.
That was very much a Woody thing.
So we don't know. We were under the assumption, I guess, maybe it could happen.
What we're doing in Hartford.
I just don't think that needs to be as much of a thing as like, what if someone gets sick? Like, when does that happen? Like, you have an idea of how healthy your team would be, and then maybe you can play it from there. But I don't think you would know like minutes before a game.
No, I think, yeah.
Like last night, Coach Garlick wasn't really going to do a whole lot outside of setting the line combos, right? And kind of controlling who played and when.
First couple games, not going to change anything.
A minute for us to kind of learn as a fan base, like his tendencies. Like, I remember when Woodcroft came up and started doing 11-7, we were like, really? 11-7?
You can do that?
Okay.
I was so mad at myself for not knowing that.
And then it didn't. So it's going to take a minute to see what Knoblauch does. And
good time for a road trip to be coming up too. I know they play Seattle tomorrow.
Bonding on the road?
What is it? 5?
Hang out in Florida?
Little bonding?
Not a bad place to go.
A little bonding on the road. I don't mind that. We got to get to some Seattle recap, and then we're going to bring Waz in for his signature game. Oh, sorry.
Don't call it a gig.
Not a game.
Not a game, not a bit.
It's a segment.
Waz's signature segment. Can you clear that up for me? But first, we got to talk about our Seattle Nation vacation. There's only one thing better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects your memories and more wherever travel takes you. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Let's talk about the Seattle trip. So, got to Seattle late. We had plane delays in Vancouver beyond our control.
And Edmonton.
Is what it is. The group took it in stride. Everybody knows it's just like, what are you going to do? We get to Seattle real late, but the next morning, vibe started out great.
Yeah, they did. We did a little bonus ON every day. Then we went down to Pike Place and cruised around the market. It was all of your guys' first time in Seattle, so you got to see the fish throwing.
That was fun.
Cool. You guys got to see the bubblegum wall, which is just a horrific.
Why is that
disgusting?
Yeah, why is that a thing? I was honestly nauseated by the whole thing.
Dude, we saw someone lick it.
Yeah. Just gross, man.
We not learned anything about germs these past few years.
I think I was saying before, I think if it's outside for that long, it's probably relatively safe by the rain but I mean, if someone comes by and licks it, and 7 minutes later, you're like, ooh, I want to lick. You end up being in the same spot. Then what?
I was just grossed out by the whole thing.
Yeah, it was especially the long stringy ones.
People were like, "Oh, Bag Milk, you want me to take your picture for like my file or whatever?" I'm like, "No, no, I hate this thing. I'm grossed out right now. Why is this a thing that we did?" Anyway, Pike Place was cool though. It's a really neat little market.
And it was also sweet to see that many Oilers jerseys around while you're seeing
lots of Oilers fans. Man, we travel well.
Yeah, we go into bars, Oilers fans. Walking down the street, Oilers fans.
So then we get that out of the way, grab something to eat. We head down to Queen Anne's
Beer House.
Queen Anne's
Beer Hall.
Like that place was pandemonium in there because they had a host on the mic. So we opened the door. There was 5 or 6 of us.
Yep.
We all walked in our Oilers jerseys because that's where we were settling in before the game. First thing this guy does is he jumps on the mic and he goes, "How many Kraken fans do we have in the house?" Place goes, "Ah!" He goes, "What do we think of Oilers fans?" And the whole room booed us. Kennedy got the video and it's
we're barely 5 steps in. This dude was on the mic. He was ready to roll.
It's like he saw us on the street and was like, "I'm getting him."
He was dialed in. Yep. But I gotta say, man, the guy created a vibe.
Dude, that guy rocked a mic like no one's business. He was great.
So we got to talk to him a little bit because we were there. We put in a shift.
We were there for 4.5 hours.
We put in a shift at that place. So we ended up talking to the guy a handful of times. He was a radio announcer in Seattle, and that's kind of like his side gig is doing this. And you could tell he was a pro because he had full command of the room. He had everybody dialed in. And at this specific bar, they had a fun bit where they would go from table to table and kind of whoever was the loudest, they got presented Das Boot. Which was what would you say, Rick? Like 2 liters of beer?
Yeah, it was hefty.
And the loudest cheering table just got given one of these giant boots of beer. And then the thing was, it had to go around the table. Everybody had to drink from it. And the whole bar chants Das Boot at you like beer fest.
It was fantastic.
It was great. So
it was hilarious because that guy asked us where we're from. We told him Edmonton. He's like, oh, I've been to Winnipeg before. I went to the Keg downtown there. Real nice.
Yeah.
And we were all like,
Hi.
okay.
You guys got bars up there?
No, igloos.
Too cold.
Yeah, too cold. Alcohol freezes immediately.
But it was such a vintage American person moment, or like, like cliche, I guess I should say, when he's just like, yeah, Keg downtown Winnipeg, good spot. And we're like, okay.
He was pumping that tight. Like, he felt like he was telling us something real good.
Yeah. Or like he thought maybe we would be like, yeah, you're right. It is a great spot.
Like we've been there. Like Canada's that little town.
Yeah, love the Keg. Always a fine steak at the Keg.
We usually end up there on Fridays and take a bus back to Edmonton after.
But as we got closer to game or closer to puck drop, more and more Oilers fans started spilling in from our trip and from beyond. We met a guy from New York, massive Oilers fan that flew into
The Heritage game.
Edmonton for the Heritage Classic. His favorite football team was the Seahawks. So he's just like, I'm going to Seattle next. And we met him and ended up spending a lot of time with that guy.
And we hung out with him a lot on the day of the NFL game too. So
Yeah. We just ran into him on the tailgate or whatever.
So as we were getting closer to puck drop, more and more Oilers fans are coming in, and it's the nation. It's the nation. We're all hanging out as a group. So then we got involved in the Das Boot chants, and it was hilarious because at the time, what was playing? It was the women's soccer championship. So the women's soccer championship. There was a bunch of people in the bar there to watch that, and they were like, "All right, who's here for the women's championship?" And the bar goes, "Ah!" And they goes, "And who's here for the Oilers?" And we went bananas, like standing on tables, banging shit. Like that's what
You're supposed to.
And he goes, "All right, who was louder? Was it the soccer people?" And they were loud. Or the Oilers fan. Place goes bananas again. And then he goes, "All right, the soccer fans, they win the Das Boot." And then they do the Das Boot thing. And
It went around 2.5 times their table.
yes, it did. Very poor showing by the ladies on that one. But then the guy wandered over. He goes, "Boys," he's like, "you guys won handily, but what am I supposed to do? Give it to you over the soccer championship fans?" It's like, not going to happen. But then 15, 20 minutes later, overwhelms Das Boot for the Oilers Nation table, and we got after it. Specifically, Captain Felton, who put back a healthy amount of that Das Boot.
I hope the captain's coming to Phoenix. Any word
We
on
talked
that?
to him about it. We're trying to grease the wheels.
Captain, if you're listening, we can room together again.
Aw.
You're a great roomie because you were there for one night.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Until he woke up. Didn't leave a
left before he
mess.
woke up.
Made his bed.
Going to, after the shenanigans at the bar were over, we made our way to Climate Pledge Arena. That place is beautiful. It's
Yeah,
a
you know
really
what?
cool barn.
The best part about that place, I thought, was the concourses. Wide. Tons of space. They're not kiosks really, but where you go buy your food and such. It was strange. We don't see that at home. We really didn't know how to use it. Some guys are lined up in the wrong spot, but everything's really fast. You have that. You just walk in through like what do you call that when you enter? The turnstiles.
turnstile,
It's
yeah.
pretty much a turnstile, right? So you just fly your credit card in there, open the turnstile, you walk in, grab whatever you want, and they charge you somehow by cameras and AI or something like that. So everything was super duper quick.
my favorite moment involving that was when I put my credit card in, walked in, grabbed my beer, and then Jay walked out behind me and he was like, "I stole my beer." And I was like, "What do you mean you stole your beer?" He goes, "I just walked in behind you after you swiped your credit card." And I said, "Oh, Jay, that just means I paid for your beer, man." And he goes, No, sounds better if I say I stole it.
Because you knew damn well that you were paying for it.
Yeah, he knew damn well I was buying him a beer and I was going to have no choice in the matter.
One of the great parts about the way Climate Pledge is set up is in the intermission, you had enough time to go for a piss, grab a beer, something to eat if you want, and back at your seat before the period started. Unheard of. I was blown away. We go back to our seat after the first intermission. I'm like,
Yeah, there was time.
we still got 2-3 minutes up there. I'm like, oh my God.
So I'm curious, like if they have more bathrooms or urinals or what, because the lineup, and I will argue this at Rogers Place till the end of time. At Rexall, things were the same. But if you went into the bathroom, you got behind the urinal and there were 9 dudes behind each urinal. You lined up from the urinal to the sink. Right. So you get 9 times 7 urinals in there. You got 63 people in there in line. So you're 64th in line. You go to Rogers now. Nobody does that. They get filled one around every urinal.
Yeah.
And then you wait at the door. So that's 63 people now go out the door instead of lining up inside. It feels different. It looks different. I don't think there's been that much of a difference.
Also, this is just a little.
But Seattle was fast.
Yeah, it's fast. Someone who goes to a lot of Oilers games in town.
No drink rails though.
No drink
No drink
rails.
grills.
There's a section at like 115. The bathroom is always a shit show. 107, the line's the same, but it goes 3 times as fast.
Yeah, so there's different ways. So Rogers is whatever. Maybe this is spaced out differently. I have no idea.
Climate Pledge was great.
It was fast. It was wide open. There's lots of space. But I will say this, is it was very steep. And it was Saddle Dome-esque. I mean, the roof was not falling on us, thankfully. But it was...
It is weird. You could almost felt like you touched the roof.
You almost
right
could.
there.
When we walked to go up our the stairs to our seats, it was steep, and you felt it right away. And when you're like walking between the person to get to your seats down your row, that felt a little bit like you wanted to hold their shirt just to make sure you don't fall.
Just in case you didn't take a tumble. Like, I'm thinking about Coombsy at the Saddle Dome.
That's exactly, dude. Tyler damn near died because when we were about to step on that first step, you almost slipped backwards, and it was 2 rows, and you would have went over the top.
I don't remember.
Tall, lanky guy, you definitely would have went over the top.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Over there, a lot of legs. But yeah, just to wrap it up. I mean, the hockey game, man, what a start! Our section was going bananas.
You were a little bit quiet and a little nervous at first, but got that first goal, and we were feeling good.
Feeling good, yelling. And then the joke, Tyler just had the funniest joke on the weekend to me. I thought it was so much fun that the Oilers scored the first one, and instead of really cheering loudly, he just kind of gave a thumbs up. And I just thought it was so fucking funny. So we just made that our thing for the whole weekend.
There's a few pictures out there where it's just thumbs.
Yeah, because my thinking behind it is that like I'm not going to start getting excited about the Oilers again until they've won 5 in a row. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to give them credit. So they get a thumbs up.
That was the golf clap, if you will.
Yeah, sort of.
So we just honestly, I thought it was so funny. So like, if you're seeing pictures of us with thumbs up everywhere, it's because Tyler it made me laugh. I didn't expect that was going to be your move, standing up and going like this. Good stuff. Good stuff. So after the game ended,
Aussies,
we found every Oilers fan we could find, and we packed this bar that was just like a block and a half, 2 blocks from the arena. Oilers fans everywhere, and boy, did we get sweaty.
You were shirtless in a bathroom at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because what do you have on? Probably a hoodie.
So I had a hoodie on, jersey on. I was wearing a toque.
You had to get it off. You had to cool down.
Like I hit the D floor, and I hit the D floor hard.
That's what he does.
I got the urge to boogie. I need to boogie. So, you know, things happen, and I dehydrated just as quickly as I rehydrated. And I go into the bathroom. I'm like, I just peel everything off, and all the dudes, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Boys, it's hot out there." So then just pop the jersey back on, a hoodie around the waist. Away you go.
And also, you want to talk about germs? They were just serving booze in syringes. So you'd be on the
Jello shots.
Yeah, but you'd be on the dance floor. Someone would just stick a syringe in your mouth.
Just for the record, I do believe the syringe, you should be taking them as a one-time thing. Like that's the intention. It's like handing out a shot glass and everyone taking like a little scotch sip out of it. It's not intended that way, but that's good. Someone just come up to you. You want some? You're like, yeah, I expect to get it all. Like, no, there'll just be a little bit there and then hand it off to the next person. You're like,
well, even same
right.
with the Das Boot thing. Like,
yeah, that was
pass it around the horn. Let's go.
But we had a late night.
My favorite part, and we didn't talk about this on the Sunday episode, and we got completely derailed by the coaching thing, is we went to go for pizza. Oh, by the way, they free pour in Seattle at a mind-blowing factor.
Do not. It is unnecessary to order a double.
Yeah, don't order a double.
I don't know why I kept doing it, like expecting a different result.
Dude, you watched the first one go, and those were like essentially solo cups, but they're the see-through ones. Mm-hmm. And you've filled up mostly with ice because that's what you do. This thing was 3/4 full when he put down the spice rum bottle.
Then we went for a little drink afterward at like just mid.
The whole point was to start walking home, and we were walking home, and then there was a little pub, and Jay was like, "Well, hey guys, we just stop in here. We're getting a little thirsty." So
popped in.
I
go, "Hey man, could I have a double spiced rum? That's my drink." No cola in it at all.
Yeah.
None. And I go, "Hey man, can you give me a splash of Coke in there?" And he goes, like a little. I'm like, no, fill the glass. I'm not trying to like fall on my face on the way home here.
Which was funny though, because we all drank at a regular rate, and he looked over and bagged milk's glass did not change. Then it was like, okay, are we ready? We're ready. Okay, we're ready. Yeah. Ordered up some Ubers or whatever the hell it was. We walked, I can't remember. And then he looked over and he just killed that thing.
Yeah. And then we went
quitter.
Then we went to the Domino's by our hotel, and it's closed, but the staff are still inside. So we went and we banged on the window, and we were like, "Please, can you please make us one pie?" And
she made us dance.
The employee said, "Sure, but you have to dance." And then we danced. And then she made us 2 pizzas, one of which she made with garlic crust.
Yeah, fantastic.
Lovely.
And she said that your total's $8.
What?
Sorry, Domino's, please do not get mad at her.
Yeah.
And she gave us 37 dips.
Yeah, it's like she was clean. She needed to clear out the store.
My favorite though is like Tyler brushed over it though when she goes, I'll open the door, but you guys got to dance without hesitation. Everybody starts boogieing. Tyler's twerking at the window.
We just walked up the window and she gave the whole throat slash, like, sorry guys, we're closed. And someone's probably Jay or something like that is like, hey, come on, please. Okay, fine, dance then. Everyone starts dancing. She cracks the door. Can we get 1 cheese pizza? Because for some reason Tyler likes cheese pizza at 3:00 in the morning.
There's just something nice. But
Yeah,
I gotta admit, it was nice.
yeah. And then somehow it happened at 2. And then for some reason, everyone's like, well, we should probably pick up like 20 more beers right now.
and snacks. We left so much beer and so many snacks in the hotel room when we checked out.
Watching you guys try and put that pizza box back into your fridge was perhaps one of the more fun things of the weekend.
So if you're listening to this, picture large
Domino's
pizzas
and a mini fridge
size mini fridge.
does not really compute. Width-wise, fine. Lengthwise, not so fine. This thing is jammed in there. They almost got the door closed. Then they're like, well, what do we do now? Tyler's like, pass me an empty beer can. Smashes an empty beer can. Tries to create some sort of wedge system to keep it closed. Did not really work, but that's okay. It was an issue for the morning.
So then it was just like, so then I stand it up vertically, slamming the door. That doesn't work. So Tyler's like, fuck it. We'll fold the box. We got it in there. But then when we went to have pizza the next morning, just a disaster in the box.
Yeah.
You could have just taken the pizza out of the box, no?
I
mean, like, where were you? Where were you with your big brain?
I don't know what everyone else, but sometimes I'll order pizza and there's no room in the fridge. You fire that thing in the oven. It's fine for tomorrow. It's not going to go bad that fast. I was like, boys, just leave it on the table. You'll be okay.
Just don't leave leftovers.
That's fair.
Well, we had a lot of
gone.
pizza though. To be
It
fair.
was more about thinking ahead to morning selves.
Jay loved the pizza so much he decided to taste it twice. But that's a story for him to tell.
We're also
North
gonna
End,
do a lot of this recap.
South and North.
Real life later in the week, but still.
Going
Football
forward,
game was great.
next morning, I felt like hot death.
Emergency podcast.
Emergency podcast. I got DMs that I was so haggard on that podcast. They're like, I didn't even know that was you speaking.
I thought the same. I actually did not recognize you at first, and I thought there was somebody else in there, but I couldn't figure out who it was, and I just kind of pieced it together. I was like, oh no, that's
Could you tell that Tyler was naked?
I could, because everybody kept talking about it.
Then we get that out of the way, start tailgating. Well, it's not really much of a tailgating.
Well,
situation.
we needed a couple of drinks first to get going.
I got to tell you, so I'm trying to have a beer outside of Seahawks Stadium, whatever it's called.
Well, Jay was walking around. Jay had the 12-pack at Rainiers. We're in Seattle, one in Rome. So then we start walking around and we're looking for this bar from the guy from last night, and we're going to go find him. And we're walking around the Rainiers, and everyone, I don't know, can you drink them? Tyler's like, can you drink? I don't know, can you drink them? Jay's like, I don't care. Starts handing them out. We're walking past the cops. Some people are trying to like hold their can up their sleeve and stuff. Jay's just firing it back. Nobody cared.
Jay's just like, turns the box to me, goes, beer? I go, I'm not doing it. He goes, I'm not asking.
Yeah.
Trip J was out.
It was a couple sips before you got going there.
DJ guy was, I fucked it so bad. What bar he was working at pre-football game.
Oh my God.
We were looking for something completely titled
What?
something else.
Oh, I can't remember what it was.
phone, I'm like-
Something shard.
I was like, what the hell am I trying to say?
Because he wrote it, he put it in his notes. Like they're talking to the bar before. He's like, come see me tomorrow at blah, blah, blah bar.
It was called the Brickyard, and we were looking for
Something
the shard.
Then we started looking at something we Googled it and we had it down to like Brick House or something like that, which was like closed and nowhere near the stadium. So we're like, that can't be it.
So then we finally go, like, I bet it's the Brickyard right there. And it just not even close. So shout out to me.
And then we're like, oh, no point going in there. We have some beers on us anyway. So let's just go for a walk.
Seahawks game started off super boring. First half, painful. Second half, got spicy.
Real nice.
Came down to a,
Field goal at the
walk-off
end.
field goal.
Yeah.
Do you call it a walk-off field goal in the NFL?
Field goal.
I think so. Yeah.
It was great. We were throwing bets down. Man, you want to talk about a hike up to your seats, getting up to where we were basically sitting on the moon in there.
Ask Jay, because we were about to walk up the stairs. He took like 3 steps up. He's like, oh, no, I need a picture. So he stops, walks back down those 3 stairs. I had to get out of the way. And then it was starting to create a line behind us as he's like trying to like crouch down and take a picture up the angle of the stairs. Then he like falls over a bit, so he's got to reposition himself. Now the line's getting even bigger behind him. Nobody said a word. They just let the weird guy take a picture of the stairs.
And if you had to like go to the bathroom or get another beer or whatever, hiking down and then back up was a slog.
However, the bathroom placement, super duper close and real quick in and out.
Yep. Fantastic. Football game ends. It was exciting. Jay gets it in his mind that we're going to go to a place called Dave's Hot Chicken. And if you've ever left a stadium with like 70,000 people trying to get out at the same time, it doesn't work well.
Mm-hmm.
So we just decided to walk out of the
Start
ring,
walking till you get out of the crowd.
and then we're going to get in an Uber, go to Dave's Hot Chicken. Well, turns out the crowd went a long ways.
A long ways.
We decided to get off the grid, which ended up being at a hill that was like a 80-degree vertical.
We're listening to Jay because he's got the GPS. So he's like, hey, it's this way, it's this way, it's this way, it's always this way. And then it's a left and it's always that way. Everything in this city is uphill.
One of you madmen decided to run up the hill.
It was a steep hill, man. I hate walking up those things. So I had like a light little jog.
So Rick starts running, then Jay starts running, and then by the way, I'm hammered, admittedly. So I'm like, we running? So I just start running up the hill. Poor girls, Kennedy and Gina behind us are like, oh, these fucking idiots are running.
Smart girls. They're like, nah.
So we get up the hill. I'm gassed. I think I'm going to vomit up. So anyway, hill. One hill climbed, one hill conquered. Still nowhere close to Dave's Hot Chicken. We walk another 2 kilometers. Finally
Uphill.
get into Ubers. Go to Dave's Hot Chicken, only to find out it wasn't even open yet.
Oh, no.
It opens in December. Jay tried to order it on Uber Eats. First of all, I think we were on the airplane still, and he's like checking it on Uber Eats. He was adamant at ordering it.
It's just like a really nice
hot chicken.
hot chicken place. Like we had it in LA and it was fantastic. So I understand why we want to go back, but we went to great lengths to find a place that was not open.
Nice.
Great job by the team though on the on our secondary option.
Yeah, went to a Thai place, murdered it. The funny part about that was go for dinner. We have about how long until the Aqua concert?
Hour and
Well, we went back and we're like, okay, 45 minutes. Vibes are low. A lot of flat tires on those cars.
Like, I'm not going to say names, but there was a lot of us, a handful of us that were just like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the concert, man. Football's on. Just had a nap. I wake up. I'm hungover. Now I got to go to Aqua. Jay, to his credit, rallied the troops.
In the cab, or in the Uber on the way to the hotel, Jay's like, I don't know. Even with me, it's in the air right now. We'll take a 45, lay down, see what we feel. I know personally, I was in my room. I was just waiting for Jay to go, guys, I'm not really feeling it. And I was going to give a ditto, turn the phone upside down, and just ride the bed for 12 hours before the flight.
We rallied.
Yeah, as we do.
We got to Aqua. We go get a drink, and damn it, did I order another double spiced rum? It came out as a quad, and I nursed that. But once the old lubrication started hitting, then I'm starting in the mood, and then all of a sudden Aqua hits the stage, and Liam, you know how we do. We get right to the front.
BM needs to get to the front. Needs to get there quick.
you and Jay perked right up at that show.
Did the people at the front have shoes on?
They did have shoes on, though they were not fans of us, admittedly. I don't think they appreciated tall boys in the front dancing like lunatics.
I went up at one point to go give you guys stuff, and someone like grabbed me and was like, no, and just didn't let me go to the front. I was like, okie dokie.
And I was trying to weasel my way forward. I was getting boxed out, like literal elbows out. They were uniting against me. I was trying to get to the front for Candyman, and I could not get there. Anyway, we had a great time.
Hell of a time.
The point here is that we're doing another nation vacation in February. I beg you to come with us.
I'm coming.
Liam's going to be there. Tyler's going to be there. Rick's going to be there. I will be there.
When I got the email,
Travel Jay will be there.
We were going and they needed to know what staff were coming. I replied so quickly. I didn't even say like, you got this email 1 minute ago. I was instant on it. I am going on this trip.
Cannot wait. I am begging you, if you're listening to this, if you can make it work, it's the family day weekend. Nationgear.ca. Go check out the details. Come with us to Arizona. You will not regret partying with the nation. Not just the staff here that go, but everybody that goes on the trips are fantastic. Everybody that meets us that's already down there. So much fun. And I want to say thank you again to Alberta Blue Cross for helping us make it happen, for covering our travel insurance.
I really want to go to the zoo whilst we're down there. If we could mix that into a trip somehow, I think that would be a good experience for all of us. The mountain goats there are something else.
Mountain goats?
They literally have like a mountain in the middle of this enclosure where the goats hang out.
Well, okay,
It's so
first
cool.
of all,
Goats are cool.
you've been to Vegas with BM, right?
We have been together.
If we take BM to a mountain goat zoo with a mountain and stuff, I have a sneaking suspicion he'll be on the inside in no time.
Well, remember when we were, the three of us actually were wandering around Vegas. And
Yeah,
we
when
went to
the-
go and see the flamingos and they were gone.
Yeah, the bird.
First of all, you
hopefully
better
the mountain
get
goats
on
are
the. You better start emailing that zoo right now because I
should
feel like
check in. We don't need no mountain goat flu.
you're going to be distraught if we get there and their goats are not there because the birds weren't there for bird flu or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was
and you weren't
crushing.
very happy with it.
Well, no, you don't want to be teased. You're going into a place called the Flamingo and there's no flamingos.
It's just an empty enclosure with a sign that says bird flu.
Bird flu.
Makes sense.
Should we be standing here right now? Oh, you guys are fine. Don't worry.
Nationgear.ca. Go get yourself booked in on the trip. I promise you're going to have a great time. I promise you that we are going to have a great time. One more time. We're going to have a great time. Nationgear.ca is where you get the details. We're running long, so unfortunately, I'm going to cut Waz here. And we're just going to wrap up the podcast for our friends at Cornerstone Insurance with a little word association, but I made it specifically coaching edition.
Ooh.
Cornerstone Insurance has been Alberta's premier boutique insurer. They've got everything you need for your life. Insure yourself. Make sure that you're covered. Nation citizens get a discount. Go to cornerstoneins.ca, cornerstoneins.ca. Gentlemen, I've got 5 questions for you.
All right.
These are all coaching related. And of course, we know how word association goes. So I'm going to start with Tyler.
Let's do it.
First word that comes to your mind, Jay Woodcroft being fired.
Sad.
Yes. Disappointing.
Rick,
Unnecessary.
I was legitimately stunned.
Yeah, stand is a good one.
Next up, reversing the order. Rick, Jay Woodcroft as a coach.
Successful.
Liam.
Yeah, successful. I can't think of the word, but I believed in him.
No drama.
I'm going to say, I thought he was lovely.
Yeah, it was a lovely man.
He didn't throw anyone under the bus. Never got there. Waz doesn't know he got cut yet.
I can hear him outside the door.
Let me in.
Starting in the middle. Starting with Liam. Jay Woodcroft's time in Edmonton.
Special.
Rick, Jay Woodcroft's time in Edmonton.
Too short.
Tyler.
Successful.
I would say successful. He leaves here as the winningest coach. All side of Knoblauch. Perfect 1 for 1 as the winningest coach in franchise history. Tyler, Kris Knoblauch as the coaching choice.
Confusing.
Liam.
What's a good word for it? I'm not convinced. But not on him. I just do you know that thing from Harry Potter? It's like, how dare you stand where he stood?
I've never watched
That's
that.
that's why I said confusing because I just don't know how to feel about it.
That's the where I'm at with Kris Knoblauch. And it's not even his fault.
Rick.
Unnecessary.
I'm going to say, the decision's been made, so my word is patience. I
Yeah.
have to wait and see what
Hopeful.
happens with them.
I believe.
Hopeful is a great word too. Reversing the order, Rick, you're up first. Hopes for the Kris Knoblauch era.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup. Say it.
Stanley Cup.
I'm just going to say, you know what? Some stability right now.
Yeah. But I think it's short term. That'll hit the spot.
Little short term, like last night, again, he did mix up the lines when it was very, very easy to do so. Oilers weren't exactly run and gun against
He
the
set his
Islanders.
lines at practice and ran with them.
He set his lines at it. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful. Kris Knoblauch era has begun. It started with a 4-1 win. Oilers play tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep.
Kraken.
I'm going to
Back
the
to
game.
the Kraken.
Is it tomorrow or Thursday?
Tomorrow. 6:30.
6:30 tomorrow.
Another
Wednesday for that.
game, eh?
Tomorrow's a short for Giant Game Day edition of Oilersnation every day.
At Sherwood Ford.
Oh, fuck me.
Crazy
What a
stuff
day.
happening. Then it
I want-
was his birthday on Thursday.
Well, happy birthday, Waz.
Hopefully he
Here's
gets
your gift. We cut your segment.
Sorry about that. We'll get you next time, buddy. We'll bring
clear-
him in on Friday. How's that?
We'll clear it up for you. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Programming note. Programming
speaking
note.
of Friday.
Yeah, the game is at 1:00 on Friday.
Yes.
next Friday, not this Friday.
Next Friday?
Bad on Black Friday, right?
I don't know. Can we confirm a schedule?
It's Black Friday, so
Yeah,
it's not.
sorry, this
it's not.
Friday is normal.
This Friday's normal. Next
Friday's
Friday.
normal edition. Next Friday, we're going to
Yes.
be early.
Yes. but there's a lot of stuff going on Friday because it's a 1 p.m. game.
Yep.
So we have pregame with Boardsy, which I think will be me and Aaron, maybe other people too. Then we have a full watch along for the game.
Yep.
And then we have After Dark. So clearly full schedule. No ON every day. Because where would we put it, quite frankly? And then, so ON Radio is Thursday night.
Are we going to release it Thursday night?
Yep.
We'll have to.
There we go. Well, now you told everybody.
Yep. So go subscribe to the Oilers Nation YouTube page. Go click subscribe. Watch all the content that the boys have coming for you. There's a lot of good shit that goes up there.
A lot of good stuff. And then Tuesday is also different, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to mix it up a little bit. We've got some visitors coming in from out of town, so that's kind of throwing a wrench in the schedule. But
Some corporate stuff got to be handled with.
Yep. Business daddies are in town, so we gotta say hello. We gotta say hello. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the Tuesday episode of Oilers Nation Radio. I want to thank Wendy's. I want to thank Greta. I want to thank DoorDash. I want to thank Cornerstone, and I want to thank Alberta Blue Cross, and most importantly, all of you for listening. We'll be back on Friday. Have a great week, everybody.